Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about the pattern in sketch mode. So let's create a sketch on XY plane, and patterns are available in this menu here between the constraint and modify, and we have three options: rectangular pattern, circular pattern, and mirror pattern. So let's just talk about each one of them. Let's draw a 2-point rectangle, and you can give this different dimensions. I'm going to just say 35 by 50 millimeter rectangle. It is in black color, so it is fully defined. And let's talk about rectangular pattern first. Imagine that I draw a square, and let's say the square 4 by 4. And let's say this square is 5 millimeter away from the horizontal line on the top and 5 millimeter away from the vertical line on the left. Let's say I want to put three more squares here, towards the right side. Maybe I'm designing some kind of a grill or maybe a pegboard or whatever. I need the same square copied uh, to the right side of the geometry. And I can just draw each square individually. I can dimension each line. I can put more dimensions for the distance from the top, from the right, and I can even dimension how far apart they are. Instead of doing this manually and just spending a lot of time, and it would take a lot of clicks, I can use the rectangular pattern. I can click on rectangular pattern, and this rectangular pattern menu will appear. Now it is asking me to select the geometry that I want to pattern. I can select the square. Now I can click on direction. I can select this horizontal line or vertical line. I can even select the line in the geometry that I'm trying to pattern. Well, let's select this horizontal line. When you select it, it might just, as a default, it might just go to the wrong direction. Right now, you can see that this green arrow showed up. It is showing us the direction of the pattern. Right now, it is going to the left side, which is not what I want. I'm just going to flip that by clicking on the flip button here. Now it is going to create the pattern to the right side. But I don't need two squares. I need four squares. And let's say I want these to be 12 millimeter apart or something like that. Let's call it maybe, yeah, 10 millimeter apart. Yeah. So right now it just created four squares, and I click OK, and four squares are created. And notice that the other three squares are also in black color, which means that they are also fully defined. And the distance between them is equal, and the dimensions are again the same dimension. So I didn't have to create each each square individually. So let's undo this and make it a bit more complicated. Instead of this creating just only four squares, let's create more than that, and let's create a rectangular pattern in multiple directions. So again, in the rectangular pattern menu, it is asking me to select the geometry. I selected the square. Now I selected the direction. I selected the uh, horizontal line for my direction. I flipped it to the right side, and then I changed this value to 4. Now it is creating four squares um, to the right side. But that's not enough for me. I also want to create three more squares towards the bottom side. And then I can select direction 2. And I can select this vertical line here. Now notice that the second green arrow appeared. It is showing me the second pattern and the direction of the second pattern. Now it is creating four more squares towards the bottom side. And instead of doing 2 rows, now I can do 3 rows. Now all these squares are created. Of course, you can see that there's a bigger distance here on the right side. So we probably need to change this to say, let me see this distance here. So this to this 11 millimeters. So this is going to be 8 millimeters. Now it is fully centered. Again, I can do the same thing for the vertical distances as well. So now let's move these dimensions so we can kind of see it clearly. This is 8 millimeter, 8 millimeter. Uh, okay, yeah, so the way it created the pattern is it's 10 millimeter apart, and 10 millimeter is measured from the horizontal line on the top to the horizontal line of the top for the next square. And again, it is the same square 4 by 4, and it's 10 millimeter apart. and I didn't have to create this one by one. It took me seconds instead of minutes. So you can create this design using the rectangular pattern. In sometimes when we create complicated sketches, you don't have to create like tens of the same geometry, but sometimes you just have to make three of them, especially when you're creating holes. Using the rectangular pattern can save you a lot of time. Of course, this is not the only pattern option we have. We also have circular pattern. And to look at that, let's just create a circle and using the origin point. And let's say this time we have this circle here. And again, let's assign a diameter here. Let's call this 40 millimeters. Let's say this is a 5 millimeter circle. And this is, say, 50 millimeters away from the center point. Yeah, so right now it is also moving to that direction. So maybe let's just assign a line here and call that a construction geometry. That way it is fully defined. And instead of measuring that, let's just measure this. Okay, so you didn't have to fully define this. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is, just fully constrained and it doesn't move around as we practice. So instead of rectangular pattern, I want to create a circular pattern this time. And just to show you something, quick detail, even if I wanted to create a rectangular pattern, I couldn't have select any of these circles because that doesn't show a direction. That's why it would not let me select an arc, but I can technically select the construction geometry. So that's just a quick detail there. But if I want to create a circular pattern here, now it is again a similar menu asking me to select a geometry. I selected the circle. Now it is asking me the direction. Now the direction is going to be, because it's a circular pattern, not a rectangular pattern, it is going to allow me to select the arc. So if I select this arc, it is showing me the direction of the circular pattern is shown with this blue arrow. I can technically flip that, but it doesn't make a difference in this design. Sometimes it does make a difference. For example, if I change this to, instead of 360 degrees, I can change this to 120 degrees. Now it is going to place 6 counts of the geometry that I selected, and it is going to pattern that in the and cover 120 degrees. But if I flip the design, if I flip the pattern, now it makes a difference because it is not symmetrical. So if I go back to 360, it is going to place a total of 6 circles in 360 degrees. It is going to cover the entire 360 degrees. If I change this to 10 circles, again, it is going to create 10 circles. So if I click OK, notice that I created 10 circles consistently, symmetrically, and I created this pattern in seconds. It would take me minutes to create each one of these circles if I had to do that for whatever application I'm working on. And so the circular pattern and rectangular pattern, like I said, are commonly used, and you don't have to really practice with this right now because we're just going to do a lot of exercises with them. And as you watch them, you will be more familiar with how these patterns are used. So let's finish this sketch and then delete this sketch, and let's create a new sketch on XY plane, and let's now talk about the mirror pattern. So maybe we just create a circle here. Let's say this circle is in a rectangle like this, and let's dimension this so they are all fully defined. So let's say this is 10 millimeters, and then let's drag this to the origin point here. Let's drag this here. Let's say this is 6 millimeters, and it is 6 millimeter away from the top side, and left side, and 5 millimeter away from the top side. Now everything is fully defined. Now let's say let's say we have this midpoint here. Let's say this is a construction geometry. We covered construction geometries in the previous videos. So now we have this reference line that we are going to use as our mirror. And for the mirror, like we select the mirror option, and it's a pretty simple menu. You select the geometry you want to mirror, and then activate the mirror line, and you select the mirror line, and then you say apply, and it is going to create a copy of the geometry that you are patterning, and it will create the mirror image of that geometry based on the mirror line you selected. In this case, our mirror line was this construction geometry, so it created the circle here based on this mirror line. So now notice that if I select this 6 millimeter distance, this circle is 6 millimeters away from this vertical line on the left. If I change that to 8 millimeters, notice that mirrored circle on the right also updates accordingly. Or I can technically move this, construction line, and that would also update the circle as well. Did I have to create a line here to create this mirrored geometry? No, I could have even used this line here. Or I could have used this line here. So that's not going to make sense, but just to give an example, let's say I want to again mirror this, and holding the control button on my keyboard, let's say I want to mirror this. And as a mirror line, I want to use this horizontal line, and then I can create the mirror image of both circles. And based on the mirror line of this horizontal line of the rectangle, I can create two more circles as the mirror image. So now instead of 5 millimeters, I can select 3 millimeters. Now everything updates accordingly. And that's why in the sketch mode, when we use rectangular patterns, when we use circular patterns, or when we use mirrors, if we can, we achieve symmetry, and we accomplish the desired geometry in a short time with less clicks. Everything stays fully defined. And if we have to go back and update anything, it takes less time to update everything, and you are much more in control of the design you are working on. So these are the patterns: rectangular pattern, circular pattern, and mirror pattern. And that covers the uh, sections that we have to talk about with the sketch mode. And after the sketch mode, now we can start talking about applying modeling action to the sketches that we created and create 3D models. See you in the next videos. Thank you.